My name is Angela Moriggi. I'm a social scientist and I'm passionate about change and sustainability. Over the past 3 years, I've been working with 3 Finnish communities that do green care. They are a nature tourism company, a biodynamic farm, and a care farm. Green care is about using nature in conscious and sustainable ways for different social purposes, for well-being, social inclusion, but also for recreation and learning in nature.
Nature, the forest, and it accepts you as you are. It's somewhere in our principles to welcome everyone, regardless the background or your abilities.
We try to see this not just a farm, not just as a place where we take care of people. It's a combination where everything is related to each other. This is not a 9-to-5 type of work. It's actually not a work, it's a way of life.
I had been doing participatory work before, but when I met these people, I got so inspired by their charisma and their visions, and I thought, what if I can use my research not to just explore what these people do, but also to help them appreciate their resources and their potential. And that's what in academic language you would call participatory action research.
Majvik is all about people really, and providing good food to people. Many of them felt it really empowering this environment and working with your hands in the dirt and eating together and kind of being thankful for the food together.
We started with this ecological farming and biodynamic farming long before it was very common in Finland.
We've been having projects with the municipality, with people who are long time unemployed and people who have mental difficulties, and from a school with children with special needs.
Tikanmäessä tärkeää on se, että jokaisella asukkaalla ja jokaisella ihmisellä on oma tärkeä arvonsa.
We are providing meaningful work and things to do in a farm environment for disabled people. We want to do things in a kind of a new way. We want to try new things which might not been tested before.
For me, it was very interesting to understand not just what these people do and what's innovative about it, but also why they do it and how they do it. So I interviewed not just the practitioners of the 3 cases, but also their networks of stakeholders, the external collaborators, the providers, the clients, and so on, so that I could get an outsider's perspective on the different practices and on the different places.
I think one valuable thing is to really get the external networks and the stakeholders view in the broad light, because you get too blind yourself when you're in the bubble.
Of course, we believe what we are doing, but it's also nice to hear from the others that what we are doing is very important and it's meaningful. When you're trying to find something new, you should think so-called out of the box, and creative methods helps in that.
One creative method that I used in this project is photo voice, which we designed specifically to involve the people who work and live on Tikanmäki farm.
Our participants can have difficulties to communicate and to express themselves. So photo voice was a really good tool for some of them to be able to say and emphasize those things what they think that are very important for them.
Photo voice-menetelmä oli semmoinen jota varmasti tullaan jatkossa käyttämään. Se tulee varmasti olemaan jatkossa osa meidän työkalupakkia, kun me kerätään meidän asiakkailta palautetta.
Participatory action research is not just about gathering information from participants, but also giving something back to participants. After 2 years of collaborating with these 3 enterprises, I decided to use the knowledge gathered before to help them think about their future and crystallize their visions in a collaborative, collective way.
Well, the workshop was useful for getting all our activities visible, that you could really embrace the diversity and the different activities.
Ja niiden palveluiden lisäksi sitten meillä oli toinen taulu, missä me nähtiin ne meidän resurssit. Ja se oli jotenkin upeata huomata, kuinka paljon meillä on osaamista ja sitä kautta muodostuu sitten se yhteinen osaaminen ja ne resurssit, mitä meillä on.
It was very good to express values and emotions in the workshop, and in general I think it should be taken more in account in society. It feels that the people have been forgotten and we are living for the corporations and not for the people.
I want Majvik, of course, to be a farm still in the future, and I want it to produce good products. But I also want Majvik to be like a place where you can go and come or live on the farm in a safe environment and enjoy the nature and the people.
Like really, in short, we want to be sustainable on every perspective.
Action-oriented research requires a lot of resources. You need institutional support and generous research funds to organize your activities. And of course, it's important to establish trust with the people you work with, to foster good communication, and to be mindful of participants' emotions and your own emotions during the process. One big challenge for participants is that research goes at a very slow pace. There can be long intervals in between one activity and another, and it takes quite some time to produce meaningful research findings.
Being a farmer, it is not always easy to find the time to really focus on the research and the matters at hand there.
It's very important to be attentive to the needs and the expectations of who you work with. For instance, I learned that there is no best practice, there is no best outcome. You can only constantly improve your methods and your conceptual framework in a way that fits the needs and capacities of the people you're involving, and that's a form of caring.
This research have made us thinking what we are, what we want to be, how we are doing things, what are our core values, and how we want to work together with people.
I hope that the results of this project will help me to show the politicians and people deciding in the community that we are sincere in our thoughts about green care.
I think it's good for the communities to be involved in research projects, because then you get an outsider. It was a good reminder why we are doing this. It's important to remind yourself, like the deep values, why you keep up, waking up in the morning and doing the stuff you do.
For me, there's not just one way to do participatory research. If I were to share the recipe of my approach, I would say that I tried to balance 3 sets of different things. First, it was important for me to be rigorous, to be accurate and precise when designing and implementing the methods, but at the same time to be able to experiment, to try new things. The other 2 ingredients that I was trying to balance were structure and flexibility. I think having a solid structure in the way you do your methods is very important, because it makes participants feel safe and comfortable in sharing and expressing their thoughts. But you also need to be flexible, you need to adapt to their circumstances and the context. Finally, I think it's important to be humble and honest about the fact that we are not perfect, and there might be failures and mistakes. But also it's important to have the courage to be resourceful, to be creative, and if needed, ask for help, for peer support and advice. Sometimes doing research can be a lonely job, but it doesn't have to be that way. I think for me it was really rewarding to go out there and try to do something meaningful for communities. And it made me feel that my role as an academic is more worthwhile.